Every year, the motor industry collectively launches a good number of new models, and invariably when that happens, they invite the likes of RPM TV to attend the event, usually in a very pretty part of the world and usually with no expense spared. But once a year, we host the RPM Adventure, where we invite PRs from various manufacturers to join us on a getaway, and instead of babysitting journalists and TV presenters, they get to relax and enjoy what life is like on the other side of the steering wheel. Our guests flew into Nelspruit, where we met them with a fleet of cars that the RPM crew had driven from Johannesburg. The SUVs were all fitted with Continental tyres and were a clue as to the kinds of terrain we'd be tackling over the 2-day adventure. From Nelspruit, we headed towards Barberton and then across the border into Swaziland, where the first real challenge was the well-worn paths through the timber plantations. Every so often at RPM we decide to turn the tables on the industry. Normally it's them hosting us, but now on the RPM Adventure we're hosting them.
Yes, and we quite enjoy the process because not only do we host them, but we get them up early in the morning.
That's right.
We put them on planes and subject them to plane food. We don't tell them where they're going. We keep them up late at night, all in the name of a bit of fun.
In the process, we get to drive some interesting vehicles in some very good surroundings as well.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we chose Swaziland. A little bit unusual, not the place we would normally come to, and it's actually been a revelation. Very beautiful countryside and some twisty and testing terrain as well.
The cars chosen for the trip were a Ford Everest, the Suzuki Grand Vitara, Land Rover's Freelander, the Volvo XC60, Nissan's X-Trail, a Honda CR-V, Kia's Sportage, an Audi Q7, our long-term Renault Koleos, and an Isuzu KB300DT double cab. Part of the experience of each RPM adventure is that the manufacturers get to sample their competitors' products in real-world conditions. Of course, we also get to have a go in each vehicle as well, the first one on our list being the Ford Everest.
This is the Ford Everest, an SUV based on the Ford Ranger Bucky platform. Now, the Bucky is one of our favorites and it also has one of the best engines in the business, a 3-litre turbo diesel. But in this iteration, the vehicle is quite a bit heavier and that probably spoils the broth.
The Everest not only feels more Bucky than SUV, but also looks less refined than all the other vehicles in our lineup. Ford didn't spend too much time on the styling, resulting in an SUV that looks bland and boxy. And with some pretty glamorous looking vehicles on our adventure trail, this Ford seemed all the more plain. The beige interior didn't do it many favours either. We're still perplexed as to why manufacturers would choose this colour for a vehicle that lives the kind of life the Everest will be expected to. With 10,000 kilometres on the clock, this particular example had been well used in press car terms, and it showed. The gear shift and other items showed obvious signs of wear. But in the dirt is where the Everest shines. Its Ranger genes are very evident in these surroundings. With real 4x4 ability and a strong tractable diesel motor, it simply shrugged off the difficult conditions.
Car number 2 on our list is the Suzuki Grand Vitara. Although relatively new to South African car buyers, the Suzuki brand comes with a decent heritage and a well-earned reputation for building good cars. The Grand Vitara has a sort of no-nonsense look about it, and while it's not the most flashy thing on our adventure, it is an individual and good-looking car. The Suzuki Grand Vitara formed part of our long-term fleet last year, and so we know this car inside and out. One of our least favourite aspects of it was the manual gear shift, which was on the sloppy side. This is an automatic, which doesn't mean it's any less capable off-road because it's still got low range, and it really doesn't mind roughing it. And while things are getting tough outside, the Grand Vitara wraps you up in a comfortable and well-specced interior. With everything from climate control to a multifunction steering wheel and keyless entry and operation, this Suzuki not only packs a decent set of standard features, but a fair bit of value as well. Our only complaint? The 4-speed auto gearbox, which tended to hunt a bit too much in certain conditions.
The The 2011 RPM adventure has only just begun. We've still got 8 vehicles and another few hundred Ks to cover. Join us after the break for more.